Digest. True stories from real life selected from the pages of the most famous, widely read magazine in the world. Deal at Yuba Gap. The crisis that overtook the city of San Francisco streamline to become the greatest drama of the snow since the famed tragedy at Donner Pass. 6 hours of surgery. The taut, exciting drama that envelops the lives of 5 people of medicine, working in the hushed concentration of the operating room to save a boy's life. The man who beat death. The warm, moving, personal story of tennis champion Billy Talbert and his valiant uphill battle to victory over diabetes. The secret weapon of Joe Smith. The classic story of the United Nations and how one reporter proved to the Soviets that the pen is mightier than the sword. My First Bullfight. The amusing and highly exciting story behind America's toreador, Sidney Franklin's climb to fame and fortune as Brooklyn's first matador. Your favorite stories brought to life on TV Reader's Digest.
This is Los Angeles. Sometimes we call it the City of the Angels. Sometimes we call it a lot of other names. LA is like any metropolis. When you've got 5 million people wandering around, sooner or later someone's going to step out of line. When they do, they come here. The Hall of Justice is a handy place. Here you can be arrested, tried, and serve your time without ever leaving the building. That number you see is Nancy Drake. Believe it or not, she's a private eye. Right now, she's conducting an investigation on behalf of Ben and Ann Williams, indicted for grand theft money in violation of Section 487 PC, a felony.
Oh, good morning, Miss Drake.
Good morning.
What can I do for you today?
Could I see the evidence on 17863, please? The People versus Ann and Ben Williams.
I'm sorry, I can't do that.
You can't withhold evidence.
Orders from the DA's office.
Who's prosecuting?
I am.
Oh, hello, O'Brien.
Now, don't tell me the private eyeful is working on the Williams case.
What's the idea of putting an iron curtain on the evidence?
What good will it do you to look at the evidence? The Williams are guilty.
You're a deputy DA, not a jury. You're only trying the case.
Uh-huh. You know all the facts?
Ben Williams was cashier bookkeeper at a textile firm called Paul Rome Incorporated.
Yeah, that's right. And he also was the only employee entrusted with the combination to the company's safe. $25,000 in cash was stolen from that safe. And on the same evening, Williams and his wife spent over $1,000 in downtown department stores.
So what? You're expecting a baby. That costs money, you know.
Yeah, and whose money? The following day, $24,000 was deposited into the Merchants Trust Company under the name of Ann Smith, Ben Williams' wife's maiden name.
I want to examine that signature.
I forgot. Handwriting analysis is one of your many talents. Give her what she wants. Then I take it you don't believe the sworn testimony of the 3 handwriting experts who have substantiated the fact that the bank slip was signed by Williams' wife.
Experts have been wrong before.
I'll take their opinion. That signature gives me an open and shut case, and I'm going to get a conviction, too. You're wasting your time, beautiful.
Here's what you wanted, Miss Drake.
Thank you. Well, let's see. Receipts for the things they bought the night of the robbery. Baby carriage, crib, layette.
She had the baby day before yesterday. Premature.
Yes, I know. In the prison ward at the county hospital. Great way to start life, isn't it? Ah, here's the deposit slip. Ann Smith, no address, $24,000. Patella's initials. Say, the teller could identify the woman who signed this.
Well, that's what makes it so tough. The teller was killed in an automobile accident.
Oh. Would you make a photostat of this, please?
Have it for you in a minute. Oh, that'll be $1.
$1? Inflation in the county clerk's office?
Got to keep up with the times. $1.
Well, here. Better be a sharp print.
As soon as she got back to the office with the photostat, her assistant, Gene Horton, went to work on it. There was no doubt about it. John O'Brien had a strong case. Nancy had to prove conclusively that Ben Williams' wife did not sign that deposit slip.
Well, that's the last one. I'm ready.
Thanks. Did you make single letter enlargements?
Right down the line. The signature on the top is from the deposit slip.
Pretty similar. You sure the one on the bottom is Mrs. Ben Williams' signature?
Mr. Driscoll sent it over while you were out. He said it was fairly recent.
Have you got the same thing with just the first names?
No, but I can give you single slides, one after the other.
Good.
This is the deposit signature. And this one is Mrs. Williams.
Now go back to the other. Well, so far, the only difference is that this is a little shakier than Mrs. Williams.
Well, wouldn't that be normal for a person depositing stolen money?
Yes, could be caused by age, sickness, a lot of things. Let me see the blow-ups.
This'll be just the first letter. They'll be in the same order.
Wait a minute. Hold it. Got a pencil?
Here.
You see, Gene? Heartbeat marks. Perfectly normal. She was under no strain when she wrote this. Let me see the other slide. Same spacing. Perfectly normal. Showing no strain, no pressure.
Will you tell me how any woman can walk into a bank, deposit that much money, forget to fill out the address and the amount, and not be under some strain?
Whoever deposited this had never done it before in her life. If she'd been under a strain or had a guilty conscience, these heartbeat marks would have been much closer. Now, point number 2. Let me see Mrs. Williams' slide. First, this part is open. Then the A continues into the letter N. Flip it back, please. This part is closed. She made the letter A first, stopped, then started the letter N. Either she was using a strange pen or had run out of ink, because you can barely see the beginning of the letter N. That's all I need. I've never seen Ann Williams. I'm sure she's not a day over 35. On the other hand, the woman who signed that deposit slip has to be in her 60s.
Because it was shaky.
No, my mother's nearly 70 and her handwriting isn't shaky.
Well, then, what's the point?
But we were taught the Palmer method. Smooth, flowing lines. One letter into the other. Years ago, they weren't taught that. When they started the capital letter, they'd stop and start all over again.
Well, what about the opening at the top of the letter A?
Youth is careless, age precise.
What about the other experts? You said they'll testify that Mrs. Williams did sign it.
I was hired by Mr. Driscoll to get the facts and present them on the witness stand. If I can't convince the jury that I'm right, then I'd better get another business.
Gee, you've got a lot at stake, too.
Yeah, my reputation.
This won't do your reputation any harm. It's from the chief of police up in Portland thanking you for the wonderful job you did on that kidnapping case.
This is a testimonial if I've ever read one.
Well, it's almost time for lunch.
Did you see this one from Youngblood and Ryan? New York attorneys. They want me to come back east next month and do some investigating for them.
Yeah, and what a retainer they're offering.
Anything else?
Yes, there was an invitation to attend an Army reunion dinner at the Statler, your old OSS outfit.
Oh, how nice. Well, time for lunch.
It is?
Yes.
Are you doing anything?
Oh, it's sweet of you to ask me.
You'll go?
I'm sorry, Gene, but I have to meet Charlie Driscoll.
Well, how about dinner then?
Did I just give you a raise?
No.
Well, you better wait till I can afford one. Then we'll make a night of it.
Charlie Driscoll, the Williams lawyer, had a large practice, a small ulcer, and a perennially pessimistic attitude.
Face facts, Nancy. It's 3 against 1.
I don't care what the other handwriting experts say. Mrs. Ben Williams did not sign that deposit slip.
Well, who's the jury going to believe, you or the police?
If you're so willing to throw in the sponge, why did you hire me?
Nancy, please.
Charles, please answer my question.
Well...
Or would you rather I'd quit now and save you in the embarrassment?
No, you can't do that. I need your help.
Well, you've got it.
Well, you know O'Brien. He's got political ambitions and a pat case. He'll stop at nothing to get a conviction.
The burden of proof is on him, not on you.
How will that stop him when there's no other possible suspects?
Charles, why did you take this case?
Oh, I take lots of cases like this. You know, poor people, in trouble, no money. The Williams are like that. They're a nice couple. I thought I could help them.
And you can. I want to see Ben Williams.
What good will that do?
Well, he might give me some inspiration. You certainly don't. Waiter, give me the check. Thank you.
Ben Williams was in the county jail, which occupies the top floors of the Hall of Justice. It is a maximum security prison. By the time you get to the lawyer's room, you know what that means.
Ben, this is Miss Drake, the private investigator I told you about.
How do you do, Miss Williams?
I'll tell you anything you want to know, Miss Drake.
Then you don't mind if I get right to the point. Where did you get the $1,000 you spent the night of the robbery?
We saved it.
In what bank?
No bank. I kept it in cash in a strong box in the house.
Isn't that a little unusual since you're a cashier bookkeeper yourself?
No. It gave my wife a feeling of security to know that the money was in the house.
Did anyone else know about the strong box besides your wife?
No.
Did you open the office safe the day of the robbery?
Yes, I had to get the payroll out.
Did you open it after that?
No, I didn't.
Could anyone else?
No, I was the only employee who knew the combination.
What time did you leave the office?
Oh, I locked up about 6:30.
And you were the last to go?
Yes.
What did you do after that?
I went home, picked up Ann, we went shopping. She was in her 7th month and afraid to go out alone. You understand?
Of course. Is this your first baby?
Yes. We'd almost given up hope. We've waited a long time.
Can you explain why the $24,000 was deposited in your wife's maiden name?
How many times do I have to say it? I told the police and told them. We swore under oath. I don't know. I didn't steal it. Neither one of us had anything to do with it.
Nancy, we better go.
Nobody believes me. I don't even think Mr. Driscoll does.
Don't worry about him.
Huh?
I believe you.
Having a baby is a joyous time in a woman's life. But there was no joy in Ward 5000 at the county hospital where Ann Williams was confined.
What are we going to do? Who's going to take care of the baby when they send us to prison?
But you haven't been sentenced to prison.
It's only a matter of time. They'll do that too. Why does this happen to us? We never hurt anybody. Ben never stole anything in his life.
Mrs. Williams, you've got to have faith. Oh, I know that's easy to say, but... Well, you can't give up. I can prove that you didn't sign that deposit slip.
They won't believe you any more than they believe Ben or me. Go away. I'm tired. Please leave me alone.
You all right, Nancy?
Yeah, I guess so. I can't help thinking what it'd be like to be in her shoes.
I know, but what can you do?
We've got to find the real Ann Smith.
How? Check every town and city in California?
If we have to.
Now, wait a minute, Nancy. You better think twice about this. The case has been in all the papers. Why hasn't the real Ann Smith made herself known?
I don't know and I don't care. I know I have to find her.
You've got 2 weeks before the trial. You can't do it.
Have you ever heard the expression, never underestimate the power of a woman? Well, before this case is through, you will.
The needle in the haystack had nothing on the search for Ann Smith. After 10 days, using telephone books and city directories, Nancy had learned one thing. Nothing.
You sit down, you're making me nervous.
I'm hungry.
So am I, but I've got to finish this first.
You can do that later. As your physician, I'm prescribing a filet mignon, medium rare, to be taken internally within the next half hour.
Look, if the Williams are found guilty, they'll be given from 1 to 10 years in the state penitentiary and carry the mark of a felon for the rest of their lives.
Nancy, you're trying too hard. Besides, you're not their attorney. That's Driscoll's job.
It's his job to defend him, that's true. But he hasn't any case unless I find the real Ann Smith.
You're usually more clinical than a pathologist when you work on a case. I think you're letting your sympathies run away with you.
But it isn't sympathy. Plain fact. The woman who signed that deposit slip was much older than Ann Williams, or she might have had a handicap.
Handicap?
Well, she might have been ill at the time.
Mind you, I know nothing about your work, Nancy. I'm only a doctor. But if I had to find the person you're describing, first place I'd look would be the hospitals.
I don't tell you how to treat your patients, do I? Now, why didn't I think of that?
Because you're trying to work on an empty stomach.
Here, start calling. You can use that phone.
I told you I was hungry.
Oh, come on. Alameda Hospital? Do you have anyone registered there under the name of Ann Smith? Come on, you start with the M's and I'll take it to the L's. Thank you.
For the next 2 hours, they called every hospital in greater Los Angeles. There were Ann Smiths registered in 17 of them. They hurried from hospital to hospital, checking on the Ann Smiths. It was a discouraging job, and more difficult than they anticipated.
How many was that?
6 down, 11 to go.
You know, when I suggested this notion to you, I had no idea you were going to involve me in it. I'm a doctor, not a detective.
Stop complaining. The next number is number 7, my lucky number. That's bound to be the one we're looking for.
7 may be a lucky number, but not this time. Ann Smith, number 8, was registered at St. Vincent's Hospital.
Ann Smith is dead. She died just 2 hours ago. I'm very sorry.
Could I see a sample of her handwriting?
There isn't any.
Didn't she sign the register?
She'd been in a terrible automobile accident. She'd lost both her arms.
Thank you for your trouble.
It was late. That was the last call they could make that night, and 9 more Ann Smiths to go. Tomorrow would do. Nancy's first prospect next morning was in the Cedars of Lebanon Clinic.
If you just write Ann Smith, your name.
This I can do, except for one thing. That's not my name.
That's what it says on the register.
That's a game I play on my husband.
Game? I don't understand.
For years now, the doctor, he tells me I need surgery. Nothing bad, but I should have it done. And Adolf, he says no. He is afraid something should happen to me. And me, I am afraid something would happen if I don't.
Well, what did you do?
I tell him I go visit my sister in the Riverside, and I come here. And now the operation is over. What can Adolf do?
Well, what is your real name?
Anna Schwarzkopf. You'll never in a million years guess how I took the name Ann Schmidt.
Well, I give up. How did you?
Coming out the bank is an old lady, and she is blind. So I give her a lift in my car. And guess what? Her name is Ann Schmidt.
Ann Smith.
So that's how it came to me. I should use the name Ann Schmidt.
What bank was that?
The Merchants Trust Company at the corner of Sunset and La Brea.
Where did you take her after that?
To her hotel, naturally. She's from out of town and staying at the Roosevelt Hotel.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Schwarzkopf.
Mrs. Smith had checked out of the Roosevelt Hotel, leaving a forwarding address at a private hospital in Beverly Hills.
I understand your problem, Miss
Drake.
Miss Drake. But you see, the Ann Smith we have as a patient here is still on the critical list.
But, Mr. Corey, I'll only be a minute.
She's not to be disturbed. Doctor's orders.
What's wrong with her?
She's undergone a very delicate operation for cataracts.
Cataract? Is she from Los Angeles?
No, I believe she's from up around Lodi.
Well, do you remember when she was admitted?
The exact date? Well, I don't keep that information in my head, Miss Drake. This is a large hospital.
Well, do you remember about when?
It was before Christmas, I know that.
I've got to see her right away.
It's impossible.
Well, who's her doctor?
I'm sorry, Miss Drake, I can't give you that information. Hospital policy. I'm afraid there's nothing else I can do for you. If you care to come back next week.
But next week will be too late.
I'm sorry. Oh, Miss Drake. Don't go snooping around here on your own, will you?
No.
Well, just to make sure, I think I'll walk you to the elevator.
Instead of getting off at the first floor, like a good private investigator, she went all the way to the basement. Of course, this meant climbing up the inside fire escape. But when you feel you're this close, what's 3 flights of stairs?
Well, then you understand why I have to know.
I think so. You see, for many years now, I go blind. Cataracts, the doctors say. And I should have come to the hospital for operation.
Well, why didn't you come before?
Oh, I couldn't leave my husband. You see, in Lodi, we've got big vineyard, much work. And I must help him.
I understand.
Last November, my husband, Mr. Smith, he passed away, and the doctor, he said, now is the time you go to Los Angeles. Maybe the doctor, you could save your eyes. And I go to the bank, I draw out all the money, $25,000.
But why so much?
Well, I don't know how much it's going to cost. But I get afraid, and I take a taxi from the station. And I say to the taxi man, you find me a good bank. And I go in and I put the money in the bank and I take $1,000.
Why didn't you put your address on the deposit slip?
The man, he no asked me. I don't know. I never put the money in the bank. Papa, he's always do that.
And you say you've never heard of Mr. Williams or his wife?
Well, I can read now. And the doctor, he no let me hear radio.
But you can still write? Would you sign your name on this pad?
I help you, yes?
Help? Why, it would take me all day to thank you. I'll be around tomorrow to let you know what happens. That is, if I can get by your superintendent. Oh, visiting nurse. Bye, Mrs. Smith.
Where have you been to get a glow like that?
Over at the Hall of Justice, watching Mr. O'Brien eat a double helping of crow.
Huh?
The Williams are free and clear of all charges.
Gee, that's wonderful.
And do you know who the police picked up for the robbery?
Who?
Mr. Paul Rome, Ben Williams' boss. He was the one with his hand in the till. He thought his insurance company would reimburse his firm. That way he could have his cake and eat it, too.
Oh, this calls for a celebration. It's lunchtime, and I was kind of wondering if... when do you think I can have that raise?
On this unanswered query, the case of the uncertain hand was closed.
Sure on watch for your favorite Reader's Digest story. Vividly brought to life on TV Reader's Digest. Direct from the pages of the magazine read by over 40 million people throughout the world. Stories created and approved by families everywhere.